payphone hangs mute. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down.
Yes. A little worn around the edges, but I'm pretty sure it's fully intact.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords.
Which ones? Ah, royalist soldiers from the time of the Revolution. The uniforms are...
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even...
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend. About a man who rides the streets of Revachol, 50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about all kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe.
Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind of Yeah, it was pretty wild. I didn't really know what to make of it, but I know it meant something. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery.
He doesn't know anything.
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason. What should I have for it? No, just people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient.
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. off-the-charts photon emissions. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. Truth be told, she was terrifying. I hadn't considered that. This is why I don't like to deal with...
He considered it, but his priority was to get rid of the gun as quickly as possible, albeit for a price.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was...
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. Let me have a look. Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's...
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. Another time, perhaps.
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from... Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of antlers on the hood of the man's cloak and his piercing blue eyes.
That's the man from Hjelmdal walking away as his village burns. Huh? Oh, I see. That's tough, man. I feel the same way sometimes. He left his native village of Hjelmdal after his son was kidnapped, having many exciting adventures and killing many enemies with his swords. But 2 real.
That's very cheap for a printed t-shirt that's still in pretty good shape.
It should belong to anyone who is ready to wear it. But why? I deal in goods, not services.
Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy. Welcome to Hjelmdal, officer.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzz. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect work.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to...
It was brought to me to be altered.
The light's buzzing resembles the purring of a cat. It seems very much at home here.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. There's also the matter of rewiring, but the most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a...
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
The stuff I record myself, silverware shaking in drawers as motor cars race by, nocturnal animals climbing on the roof.
Maybe you should ditch music as well. get into these more experimental sounds he's describing.
And here you are, quality sound reproduction on the go. It'll play anything, wherever. Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open. Of course. It's in working order still, isn't it? Just pick your tape and set it spinning. It all starts.
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard, he's probably on Perolidon, a drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
How would I know? Perolidon is just something since the people's piled us up, I was with the emergency relief brigade. Had to take it for...
He's taking it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of... Needless to say, things didn't work out. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. But
we were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance didn't have the art to let it all go to shit. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace so much disappointment and early deaths. Cancer mostly. No one's. Everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, so I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortice.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Have you tried it before? Here you go, man. Of course.
This is not the cleanest bathtub in the world, but it's cleaner than you are, right? That soap scum smell. It smells like life, at least compared to you. The bathtub slowly fills with water. The water beckons. The water is only lukewarm, but still comforting, like amniotic fluid. A few beer cans are bobbing up and down along your flanks. Now you are alone with your thoughts in the tub. But it's easier than being alone with your thoughts outside. You see the corpse. You can still smell the cadaver on you. It's going to take more than one. Then, houses along a narrow street. A video rental. Darkness on the planet's curvature. Your fingers grow pale and are covered with tiny whirls as the water cools. The waterline recedes as you stand. You are cold now. Your clothes stick to your still moist. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you just might be able to twist its parts into place. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet regains a record. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours.
The option to go to sleep becomes available every...
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't come. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm. A bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case. Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost, your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry? Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs between her legs? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Useless. On the surface, you really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like a You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Yes, wait till you see the one with the chick in it. It's gonna be a good one. You feel even worse this morning than you did. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, but you're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hang. It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again and ready to detect. Of course, Martinez is Speed Central. You just gotta poke around. You and Speed will be happy again. You will make her come home. Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of what a solid can of mass-produced piss water. Well over 10% alcohol in this so-called beer. Pop it open before... Wow, the gods of mass production have made this alcohol container laughably easy to open. There's a satisfying pop as the cap comes off, and the hair on your back rises like an army at attention. You've been here before. Welcome back, nothing. Some mental stuff. Nothing to be worried about. A golden sun melts down your throat. Its rays filling your nostrils with sunshine. Your stomach melts from it into a happy, gooey mess. So does your mind. All the bad...
In the bottom right corner of the screen.
From the void we came, and to the void we must return.
Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The Union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men who drink beer for breakfast? There's talk of an armed wing of the Union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad to see you again, dear. Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line, the Union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there. Or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague about phone problems? This is something to look into later.
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expedition, but you have more important things to worry about.
More important than a missing expedition? I don't know. Expeditions often lead to something interesting.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. We hit it off and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. I hope you were able to pawn that old trinket. Oh, thank you, dear. I confess I am glad to see it again.
Even the lieutenant seems happy with this turn of events.
Now, what else, sweetie? Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are... But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday.
The waterlock, that was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the waterlock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the waterlock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban...
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinion.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless. And frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely in...
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic.
Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodea, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds, hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even.
That's not special at all. Of course it blends in. Most insects do. You don't even have to be a stick insect for that.
Oh dear. I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very... Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass but there's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside. The man is decomposing visibly now. Every hour, the lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
All right. I can drive him to processing today, no problem, since we stalled with this. But this does mean I will be gone for the rest of the day. Work on the case, tend to personal matters, try not to do anything too dangerous. An officer needs backup in a neighborhood like...
This means Lieutenant Kitsuragi will leave until tomorrow morning. If you have nothing to do, read books or sit on the bench on the plaza.
I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
Yes? Hello? Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
She doesn't really want to be disturbed that much. If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
Not all the time. Right now I'm browsing books. Even a working class woman needs something to read. It is. I know you are. What with?
What with? A lot of things. For example, people tend to go missing.
My husband? No, he's not. I don't know. At home now? Out drinking with his friends? Working? Yes, but... I don't really need to know where my husband is. Not all the time. No. Why are we still talking about this? I haven't lost my husband.
It's got to be something else then. Why else would you be asking her if it wasn't?
No, absolutely not. Are you a policeman or a nanny? They are not missing, sir.
You know where they are. They're at home, smoking. Giving the ladder up. No, they're at a disco, getting down. Stupid disco dancing teenagers.
What? That's just... My daughters are perfectly fine. They're with their friends down there. They're almost grown up now anyway. They're past the age they need me protecting them from everything now. My youngest girl, Jolie, is just shy of 16. Jenny, she is turning 18 next month. But we shouldn't even be talking about them. Why do you need to know this? Haven't I repeatedly told you that they're not missing? That they're in Shamrock, safe and well, at some stupid party? There is no investigation here. I can tell you that.
Okay, it must be asked then. What are you doing here? Why are you pursuing this? Is it a hunch?
I don't mean to disrespect, sir, but you are being a bit of a cockatoo here. I don't even have a cockatoo. And guess what?
It's a trap. Never ever say what.
Great. Nothing. Go read up on them if you're so interested. There's a...
Maybe you should. What if the cockatoo is your astral captain? Or your heraldic bird?
Wonderful. The store is open.
Her hands move over the book covers. The tips of her fingers look rough, stained with yellow. It seems like she has spent a lot of time. The woman before you nods and returns to her reading.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? It's a bookstore, sir. We sell books, postcards, and some board games. It's called Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People.
Books? Postcards? Easy. Even a kid would know all of this. Don't be a fool. As an expert, it's your duty to tell what you know to everyone.
Sir, are you okay? You've been standing here silently for a while now. Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside, minding the register. Or feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life. You succeed.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed. Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go... Exactly, but we've been doing fine so far. Yes, please do also look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games are there, sir. Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
Did someone say sneak around in the cellar? We should do that.
I'm not sure, sir. I don't really know anything about curses. But I do know books. We can talk about books. Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals. And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is or how the good guys are going to catch him. You don't look much like a policeman. Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen. Head, yes.
No, your resilience. No, your mind. Not head, child. Heads.
Isn't that very dangerous? Unlike you, sir. He's just a fictional character. He's no match for you. Maybe you can show me some real police work, sir. Like in the books. It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man. Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir. It happens, but usually the guy gets rich in the process. Or should actually be rich himself, but has lost his family property unjustly. Those are unhappy books, for most of the pages. People sad about what they have lost, but then it all turns out just fine in the end. These are not very common. You can't have a choice between bad and bad. Nobody wants to read a story like that. Well, maybe then it's fine. Maybe if the lady then decides not to pick either, because she doesn't need a bad man. Yes, that would be interesting. That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life. Not in romance books, sir. These are about nice and pretty people, and everyone is happy in the end. I haven't read many of those. Maybe you should ask Mum. I don't think it's a romance story if the main characters break up, though. No, I don't know. Yes, she knows books, definitely.
What was that? An idea for an unfinished novel stuck somewhere in your forebrain?
Maybe some about other books? Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds of people. I think that's why people read them, to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
But it does make the famous people more famous. Why would they do that, sir? That's so cool. Maybe they'll make you a book cover picture and everything, standing over a dead body, holding a gun. Oh, that's Auntie Billy. She's nice if a bit distressed. I think she is a bad husband, not very nice or helpful. No, sir, I can't. It would be too tiring to refrain from it. It's already tiring enough to remember to say it all the time. It's nice of you to say I could stop, though. That's a friendly enough face, most of the time.
The girl keeps her hands folded, hidden. Why is that?
What do you mean, sir?
She looks around anxiously. Her hands remain folded in front of her. She brings out her reddened hands, her nails frayed, nearly chewed down to the flesh.
And you knew this from me keeping my hands folded? Well, that proves nothing. Anyone could do an easy deduction like that.
She nods, half provocative, half enthusiastic.
Maybe so, sir. Okay, I know it's a bad habit, and I shouldn't. It was okay, sir.
There's more that can be achieved here. Ask her to do the same.
You're quite sober. Because you usually aren't. I sure hope you are, sir.
There she stands, swaying on her feet, assaulted by the early spring breeze. There's something you're missing. Magnesium-based life form. We tell them, hell no. You're about to become a magnesium-based life form. The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word, mountains of it, heroic quantities of Heimdall. Roy's puny shirt is nothing. Rows and rows of Heimdall men blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Heimdall and the Mammoth Riders. Man from Heimdall. Return to maybe 100. Man from Heimdall and the sages at the end of the world. Man from Heimdall and the false god. Man from Heimdall and the scorch. Not even close. Man from Heimdall in hell. Man from Heimdall and the forest of slaves. Man from Heimdall under the lake. Man from Heimdall, Heimdall burning. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by an endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is there's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, that price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulin. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children. Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. Wonderful choice, sir. If you say so, but you better stay away from those immoral, occult,
This bookstore is not strictly about crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Amidst the various books, you find one written by someone named Matthias W. Dundas. These 3 things are very important to the working class. The point of the book, and many others on this shelf, is to give people medicinal advice in situations where they don't have access. It serves platitudes, while also telling everyone that traditional medicine, the kind people don't have access to, and which costs more than this book, is garbage, and would only wholeness, unity, balance, on the other hand, can basically take care of anything. When it's up to your mind to heal yourself, then it's because of your mind that you're ill. The book features chapters on topics such as how to find magnesium. It even lists plants you can harvest magnesium from. There's even a chapter on the ancient Seraïs tradition of using duck gallbladder preservatives to treat and prevent sexually transmitted diseases.
Sir, please, no browsing in that shelf. That wisdom is not for free. I can't have you end up, like, opening a police store next door and stealing my customers. Oh no!
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and this large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is Ozon, Laurentide, Fas Alamer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades, disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelier, and Vimandu, on archipelagos. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Windy is the north azimuth. Grad is connections to other worlds, words past the Insulindian. unknown to you. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. Hudon, it's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forberg. It's almost as bad, and much larger. It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is, north of Jamrock, the strip of coast next to the Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour. No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have, but it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky. It's not really a map, it's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbour, even the whirling in rags there.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, they're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing? It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business.
A sulfur-crested cockatoo sits on the cover, its beak slightly open. It looks as if the bird is calling out the book. Turns out that there are so many different cockatoo species, and they all have. You don't have behavioral problems. That's garbage.
It's a must-have if you own a cockatoo. I've heard they're quite capricious.
You wait for the storekeeper to be distracted. When she's not looking, you haul the tome of. It's quite a challenge, but eventually, the guide to the cockatoos. The plaque on the shelf reads, "Biographies of famous people." You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv. And High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine. Next to that, Revacholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a run-down drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse, though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce. I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power.
Shelves full of biographies of famous people, whoever they are.
A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen. A couple of spook novels hide amidst all the detective books. Thrilling tales of spycraft and crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during. Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, you see Dick Mullen on the job. Get me Mullen. The stalwart adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the murder in the A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the murder house. The final case of Dick Mullen. An obvious lie. Dick Mullen in the clock tower. Oh no, turns out he faked it to solve a case. Yes, there's also the dame who did it. Farewell, my Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch him. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen?
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to... You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Several maps have been... The maps look old and faded. You peek at the storekeep, waiting for her to be distracted. When she's not looking, you definitely... You're now the proud owner of a map of Martinez, which, to be honest, did not even... Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels. Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, a worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic hard-boiled phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Perhaps you're drawn to the dark and noirish atmosphere. Is it because the smoking dame in the slinky red dress on the cover is giving you a hard-on? Yes, it is. The bulge in your pants is embarrassingly obvious. Relax. It's not that bad. Also, this means your blood flow is returning to normal. Quit staring. You're in public. There's plenty of time for that later, in the privacy of your own room.
Of course. Such violence and immorality. I mean, enjoy. Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post? Wonderful! Did you talk to her? Great! On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her? Come now, it's not personal. It's about proper sales practices and market research. I expect an answer. My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette. God, I've told her not to do that. It's such a disgusting habit. She'll get over it. Anxiety is She can, if she has enough willpower. This is what's called growing pains. Life isn't easy. Life doesn't give breaks. She stands stiff and severe, silently fuming.
This is a person coming to terms with a new reality, one where they are wrong. She's looking for one, but there simply aren't any good arguments for being an asshole.
Oh no. Hold on. I need to invite her inside and apologize. She must be freezing out there. There. I don't know what to say to you. My husband, he tries to teach me business lessons. I have what my mother called a dull mind. All this stress. Yes, I'm afraid so. A real treat she is. It would be nice if she had... No, we couldn't have
A glimmer of sadness blinks through the well-crafted exterior.
We're quite busy people, you know, my husband and I. Quite busy. Children are a lot of work. You don't look like a father, so I'm sorry. I'm sure you do understand. Yes, my husband is a successful entrepreneur east of the river. If only he were more involved in the business we're running up here. No matter. Soon we'll both be off for Grand Cour. It's a proper place to live. One of the most peaceful neighbourhoods east of Jamrock. You may know it for its most of the buildings are empty at the moment. It's a great opportunity to get ahead of the crowds. Better times ahead for sure. He made the initial investment. Since then, he's been what you might call...
Super silent, almost inaudibly so.
She's been too busy helping me here. So she studied at home this trimester. This is a temporary solution, of course. I assure you, I of all people understand the importance of education. She will be back in school the moment the store takes off.
And hell freezes over? Never mind. It's not a good topic to get into. The woman looks aloof. Her features much softer. Okay. You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only. Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become. You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck. The inhabitants of Ile de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you. Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice...
Sir, don't touch that! I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them. I won't be held responsible for the consequences.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
Why? It's not like anyone was killed there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so impolite. Just please don't go there. I can't allow that. You'll only make things worse and unleash the powers.
The curtains do seem frail suddenly, not robust enough to contain a slippery darkness.
You do? My God, even more reasons not to mess with the curtains. Just step away, dear sir. No, it's just a storeroom for the employees, I told you. Now please step away from the curtains. No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before you decide to do anything extreme.
Talking is always good. Go see what she has to say. The curtains, tattered with age and covered in dust, hang before you, as if taunting you.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. I don't understand why it's so important. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books. You're supposed to be... drawn.
She's so tense, it's a miracle she hasn't snapped in half yet.
I'm not tense, I'm just... Okay, fine. It's just because this place is cursed, just like everyone said. They don't call it the doomed... Are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. It's not just that, officer. We're dealing with something supernatural here. It's the cacodemons feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous.
Wow. Void raves. You have new words.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building. Even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans, with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%.
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather questionable way to describe a group of people.
Most certainly not. I don't want anyone who's not familiar with the psychic arts to get involved in this mess. Stay away.
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective. Slither up to her, you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no para-detective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker. Pardon me for being so blunt, but...
You look like one.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
I should have realized. A pattern lies within the fabric. The hand of fate guides us. Our meeting couldn't have... But I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't... If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the... Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse.
Unbelievable darkness and ruin. What do you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared. The display rack is brimming with worn. A twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching. Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular man from Helmdal in chains. kneeling in front of a staircase leading to a throne. Between the throne and the Hyundala man lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The title reads, "The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Hyundala novels."
It is a bestseller for a reason.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room, a strange cage-like trinket. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens of scary little Seminese wards.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of Seminese trinkets and charms. It appears only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air